Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The Fever lose 79 to 84. The positive note is we weren't blown out by 30 this game, so progress, little progress in there. And believe it or not, we actually played a pretty solid game in the second half. I mean, that second quarter was atrocious. We fell behind by a lot, and we could never fully recover. We did get within 2 possessions multiple times. We had a good shot at this game, but ultimately can't make mistakes against good teams, and we made too many mistakes down the line. And I gotta give props to the Mercury, at least for their game plan this game. Great coaching by them, great adjustments, and wanting to push the ball, push pace against us, abuse our bad transition D. We would even make baskets, they'd be right down the court. We would give them a little bit of that back, but they were constantly pressing that button as much as they could, take advantage of us, and also keying in on mismatches. They attacked Kelsey Mitchell, they attacked all our guards with their much bigger players in Satu and Kalia Copper and the like to get easy buckets on us. And of course, Alyssa Thomas went off because AT is just AT, and she's a brick wall at times and has such good touch around the basket. She's just hard to stop. And all that said is, if you look at the stats, we did pretty good in this game. We won in rebounds. We had a lot of good offensive rebounds, even though we didn't necessarily capitalize on all of them. We won in assists. We actually had more assists than the Mercury. We had a similar field goal percentage. We shot better from 3 at 36%. And the one glaring difference, though, is if you look at the free throws, you will notice that we got 8 shots and they got 23. And this is, again, one of those games where it just felt like the refs called a lot of shooting fouls, called it really touchy whistle for the Mercury, especially Dewanna Bonner, and not for our guards who were getting clobbered a lot, or even our posts. And they just weren't calling it fair on both sides of the court. But I don't want to blame it all on the refs. However, there was one interesting moment where Dewanna Bonner just got a little tap after the shot, and she missed she took a horrible shot. Got a little tap after the shot. Her and Clark got into it, and Dewanna Bonner telling them to review it. And to be fair, technically it was a foul, but if we're going by what was being called on both ends of the floor, that was only getting called on the Mercury side. It was not getting called on the Fever side, because the Fever, you really had to get hacked for them to call a foul and get you to that line. And it was just a tough night in that regard. I think this team could fold mentally very easily. They have a lot of reasons. The refs, the injuries, heck, even their trainer tore his Achilles. That's not a joke. Before the game, their trainer tore Achilles. Maybe he took one for the team so Natasha could escape on her birthday. The defining play of this game, though, that really hurt and encapsulated just kind of the FIFA running out of gas, was the sequence very much down the line where we missed 3 rebounds in a row, and they eventually got the ball back and it scored. And it's just like, man, we had so many opportunities. It's like, if you play so good on defense, rebounding is your reward to get the ball back and go down. If you can't do that, then it just saps the life out of you. And good teams are going to punish you, and we gave them way too many chances in this game and couldn't capitalize when we would do the same thing. We actually had our own sequence where we got 3 3-pointer shots. Bree Turner was down there serving him 3-pointer practice, and we couldn't sink one between Hall and Kelsey Mitchell, which was tough. However, there were a bit of highlights in this game. Kelsey Mitchell, 29 points, 55% shooting, 5 for 9 from 3, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. She was trying to will us into this game. She was trying to will us to a win. She had a great dime finding seams. She was playing a very good game. That said, again, she would have more made threes in this game if she would just take the actual threes. Instead, she takes so many long twos. And especially in moments where we're trying to come back into a game, we need the threes, not your long two. You're just taking an objectively hard shot instead of a 3 that would get us further ahead. And it's frustrating to see that from her still. Aaliyah Boston, though, shot terrible and had 4 turnovers. But all that said, she had 11 points and 7 assists on the night, 8 rebounds, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. She put in a lot of work for us. And when she had good matchups, she was owning them. She was doing good, but she's had one of those nights where the ball just wouldn't bounce her way into the rim, and a lot of really close shots that should have went in. I think it's going to turn around for her. I expect her to feast against the Sky. Lexi Hall played stellar tonight, 18 points, 42% shooting from 3, 2 offensive rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and a partridge in a pear tree. She had it all tonight, including the black eyes. She's always consistent, but when you can get a good scoring night from her, you know that you're going to be able to have a close game. So it's a shame that we couldn't get any other piece to kind of flow through and get us to win this game. Sims had me a bit worried tonight. Her shooting has kind of disappeared, but there was one point where she was pulling herself out of the game. And so I'm just hoping that she's not re aggravating anything and that she is staying healthy because we need her, especially if we can get her scoring. I think that she had her big night against the Sparks, but since then, it feels also like her shooting and her kind of like extra playmaking or forcing shots hasn't been falling, and it just tends to look worse when she's having those kind of nights. Bree continues to show she's the best defender on this team, the best big defender, like maybe besides Leah Boston. And at times, we've had Tosh had amazing, performances in the Commissioner's Cup and stuff like that. But Bree is really shutting people down, even people that Aaliyah Boston was not shutting down tonight. They're not even playing into her tonight. 4 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and she left with the highest plus minus and had 18 minutes of play in this game, more than Tosh did. Which, speaking of Tosh, again, less minutes, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but 2 turnovers, and the lowest plus minus in this game at minus 13. She shot well inside, but again, she took her token 3-pointer that whiffed, and I think that just defensive is where she's struggling right now. Dantas she played okay. She had okay minutes. I mean, it was short minutes, it was 7 minutes, but she had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a really tough bucket. She should have got a foul on. Her 3 still doesn't exist, which sucks, but it is what it is. Now, Bibby is still out injured, so that's why she didn't play. But Timpson's been missing for a lot of games now. And so I've seen it come up in comments. Why aren't they playing Timpson? Why are they playing Timpson? Originally, I thought that like the Fever and Stephanie White and her coaching staff were just really into matchups, and they were just dogmatic on it. And so that's why we weren't seeing her in some games. However, we passed through the Golden State Valkyries, where height and athleticism, that's the matchup where you would play her. And then we played the Mercury, where height and athleticism would have really helped us out here. And so it kind of makes you wonder, okay, well then if it's not necessarily matchup related, like is there something else going on in the background? We don't know, but I'm interested to see if anyone asks the question soon, because it is surprising to see that she is gone. There was a little bit of tidbit, a nugget that snuck out during one interview where they said that they're going to get tighter on who's playing and the minutes and that kind of stuff and earning minutes. And maybe Bree has just eaten all of Timpson's minutes now. But then I also look at Dantas, who is really only giving you, for the most part, missing threes and like maybe a score here or there. And on defense, she's normally not performing very well. I would kind of question where if Timpson could get on those minutes. But again, there's only so many minutes to get around. They're trying to get tighter on the rotation. And so she's not seeing the floor, but I think that is definitely a mistake, especially when you're as shorthanded as the Fever are, because Aaliyah Boston's making a lot of mistakes when she's just getting gassed, and she's playing the most minutes in this game, and that's when she starts to struggle. So with that, ultimately a tough game, but the Fever can only control the future now. So they can only focus on the Sky, the Mystics, and the Lynx, which are upcoming. The Sky, that should be a W for this squad. I believe in them. I think that they will take care of business. They're a much better team than the Sky. Even if the Sky are at full strength and we're as injured as we are, we should win that game pretty easily. And we've had their number all season. Mystics, that's going to be the toughest one. If we can win that game, I think it guarantees us the playoffs. I think it's winnable. As good as some of their players are playing, their rookies, Kiki, Sonia, I think that the reality is that we just have a better all-around team, and they've traded enough pieces away from that team that we should still be good against them. I think that can be a win. And then the Lynx, yes, the Lynx are a really amazing team. However, the Lynx are getting ready. Like if they clinch everything, that's the last game of the regular season. They're going to want to rest before they go into the playoffs, especially if they're going to play us again in the playoffs if we're 8th seed and their 1st seed. So I think the reality is they might sit a lot of their starters, and that could be a sneaky game where we win it anyways. So I'm actually feeling really good about the Fever being able to make it to the playoffs. Obviously, we could lose out. There could be catastrophic things to happen. But if we can get to the playoffs, if the reports are true that Clark right now is, she's doing warm-up drills, she's playing, fast break drills with the subs, and she's starting to get into the flow of things, no contact yet. I mean, I don't expect her to be back by the Sky game or anything like that, or, maybe by the end of season. The Fever staff are hopeful by the end of season. So if we can get her back, I think that yes, it'll be tough because she hasn't had a lot of in-game play, but she is just another weapon that is sorely needed for this team that we are just missing that spark to overcome teams like the Mercury and other teams. She's an amazing offensive engine, and it could lead to one of the greatest, most Indiana style Fever stories in basketball. So I'm excited for it. I'm really optimistic. Sue me, sue me. I'm Mr. Optimistic. I'm sorry. So hopefully we see that. But let me know in the comments down below if you think we're gonna make the playoffs. And as always, remember, you're gonna be amazing today because you are amazing. And I'll catch you next episode.